Hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Ford from Cash Life Mastery, and today we are going to crack the I can't even talk today. We're going to crack the Twitter code with Keith Keller. We're going to hit the ground running today, guys. So, like I said, my name is Wendy Ford from Cash Life Mastery, and if you want to contact me, you can contact me on Facebook through Cash Life Mastery, my business page. And I would like to introduce my illustrious co-host, Mr. Keith Keller. And can you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how they can reach you really quick before we get started?
Yeah. Okay, so Keith Keller is my name. And basically, I'm a Twitter dude. That's all I do. I'm a one-trick pony. And we're setting up a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde here. Wendy's actually jokingly said that my gangster name is Lady Killer Keller, like Babyface Nelson or any of those really cool gangsters from Chicago. Not that gangsterism and coolness actually go together, but it's actually a pretty cool name, hashtag Lady Killer Keller. But basically my thing is I am a Twitter dude. I've decided to put my stake in the sand to say I've got in early, I've gone in deep, and I pretty much have pulled everything around Twitter apart. And I don't know everything, but I know a lot. And if you need to know more about Twitter, then I can probably help you. And we're actually going to be creating some cool products around this because still, even in 2016, 10 years after Twitter was invented, people are still saying, mate, what's Twitter? I can't get it. I just can't understand it. And that's my job. My job is to make Twitter easy and fun. And I think I'm doing that pretty well. If you want to know more, we've got a really cool hashtag other than Lady Killer Keller, Twitter tips for newbies. And I've been running a series of podcasts and videos, and I'm really collating everything under that one hashtag. And we'll be doing this as a series of Twitter tips, little snippets and bibs and bobs. It's pretty funny, isn't it? It's pretty good.
Yeah, so actually, guys, we will be actually having a blab every Monday night. So far, we've planned out about 10 weeks worth, and I'm sure we'll end up doing more. But that's just how far we've planned out so far. And so by the time this is over, we will know how to use Twitter up one side and down the other. And, make sure that you use that hashtag Twitter tips for newbies because we're trying to attach everything to that. And as far as your Lady Killer Keller, you had to have one because I ended up with Cash Life Money Honey.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're definitely doing a Bonnie and Clyde thing. We're definitely doing a Bonnie and Clyde thing.
You have to have one. You have to have one. So, last week what we talked about was doing the 30-30 rule. And I got started with that. So I want to tell you my results. But before I do, tell everybody, what the 30-30 rule is, just in case they didn't listen to last week. Just a real quick.
So we talked about growth hacking your Twitter from a standing start. You've just started Twitter. Where do I go? And I devised this really cool system, Twitter 30-30, which is follow 30 people a day for 30 days. Rinse and repeat. For 30 days, just follow someone every day. And I jokingly said that it should take you about as long as it takes you to boil the kettle. You boil the kettle, you're making a cup of tea anyway, grab your phone, find 30 people to follow, and you follow about 900 people in that 30-day period. 400 or 500 people almost certainly will follow you back, and that's like the phone ringing. It's like someone knocking at your door saying, hey, what do you got? Let's have a chat. And it's actually brilliant. How did you go with it? Has it been helping?
Yes, I have. I started with 724. And so today I proudly announced that I have 898. So that averaged out to 24 people per day.
Based on following 30 people a day?
Uh-huh.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's an 80% follow back ratio. That is that's pretty clever. And the thing that's really great is that those people that have followed you back, you've consciously chosen them and they've really put out the olive branch to have a conversation. Now, it's a really targeted strategy for people who want to follow what you're doing and in a way have said, look, I'm open. Give us a call. Let's have a DM. if you're in my town, let's have a coffee. It's really great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely wonderful. But I will say, I want people to take a little bit more time with it, who they're following. Make sure that they're someone in your niche, someone you would want to do business with, or, you know, even if it is just a personal friend, you know, make sure that they're targeted people. Don't just hit the follow button for anybody who comes up. You want to have targeted leads on your business accounts, especially. You know, if you have a separate personal account to follow actors, or, you know, have that for friends and, you know, random people that you might, you know, think are cool. But on your business account, make sure that they're definitely targeted leads, focused in your niche. And that way, that account will always run information that's related to your business, because part of Twitter is giving hearts and retweets of other people. So you want those other people to be providing information that's related to you for your customers to have, because your customers are looking to you to bring you, you know, to bring them great information. And what better way than to retweet somebody who's written something wonderful? Just like, you know, I retweeted Keith this week because he was putting out information about cracking the Twitter code.
Look, that actually brings us up to the what I really want to talk about today, and I really want people to start playing around with the Twitter 3030. And then when you get, and I've got a really cool example. This is an account. Actually, we probably should use your account as the defining moment. But this account here, I've used this principle specifically. Tweet Teach 101. It's a Twitter account I set up specifically. I tweet twice a day at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Only Twitter-related stuff. And I've tried this little experiment. I've followed about 1,980 people, and about 940 followed me back. So that's about 50. Actually, no, that's I can't remember the ratio there. I think it's about 60%. But here, Tweet Teach 101. You've got an account that I'm using this Twitter 3030 on. But more importantly, you've got a live case study here with Wendy, who's got really a massive, about an 80% follow back ratio in about a week. Really, really amazing. So Tweet Teach 101 is one I've been using for a while, and it's what your business account could look like in about 60 days. You know, I've followed about 2,000 people, and about 1,500 people have followed me back. Round figures, that's 75% follow back. Quality leads, interested in Twitter stuff. Yeah. But the other thing I want to work you towards is that eventually, if you can manage it, and this is probably about as far as I'll take it. Hello, Walter.
Hey, Walter.
This is about as far as I'd take it. I actually personally recommend Twitter 60/60. Follow 60 people a day for 60 days. That's a little bit harder, and you've got to get your mojo and you've got to warm up to it. But I have got 2,000 people in 60 days, targeted, related followers on this account, social radio MP3s. And I want to talk about this in a little bit, because I am constantly running experiments. I've got 4 Twitter accounts, and I'm constantly running experiments, a little bit like what Wendy just said. I've got an account where I follow actresses and friends and things, and I've got a business account where I only follow business people. So on Social Radio's MP3, really that's just a collection of all of my podcasts that I've ever done. I've got 150 podcasts that I've ever done, ever. Interviewed in Switzerland and the UK and India and America and UAE and all that very exciting stuff. And there's about 160 of them, but you don't want to listen to them all. So I just basically create a little tweet for that and send them out in rotation. But that particular account, I know for sure, had 2,000 new followers in 60 days using the Twitter 60/60 method, which is 60 people a day for 60 days. Now, don't do that yet.
I was about to say, this week, should I bump it up?
No, I think we need to start. If you can do 60, that's brilliant. But it's time consuming, isn't it? And
yes, it is.
I think you had the better idea. You had the better idea. Follow 30 targeted people rather than 6. Yeah, tighten it up. Follow 30 targeted people and get 80% following you back, rather than following 60 people just to get them out, just to, you're on the bus. It's easy to do. I mean, it's so easy to do. You could easily follow 60 people, but I wouldn't think you'd have discernment around that. But I'd like you to aim when you get your mojo, when you've got a really good system. There are sites that allow you to automate this that are not that much money, but I personally don't recommend them because Twitter hates them. Twitter hates what's called churn. And I'll tell you, if you haven't heard this phrase before, there's sites out there that some of them are free, some of them are a monthly fee. Well, what they do is they allow you to follow, say, 100 people a day. And then after 7 days, if they haven't followed you, they automatically unfollow them for you and keep going. Now, It's extremely attractive. It's extremely attractive to use these sites because it takes no effort. You just set up your account, you pay them the money, and they follow them for you. There's a number of them. I'm actually not going to mention any names because I'm currently in the process of working out which ones are kosher and which ones are not. Funny enough, community is based in Israel, so that's actually quite a clever term, kosher. But so there's a number of them. There's about 4 of them that I'm researching. And I know for sure because there's this phrase called Twitter jail. Have you heard of this phrase, Wendy, Twitter jail?
Yeah, it's just like Facebook jail. They'll shut you down.
Yeah. So in my very early days, 5 years ago, I was using a site, which I'm not going to name, but I was very, very excited. And I was getting like 100 new followers a day. And then I got this email from Twitter to say, you're not really supposed to be doing that. So as a punishment, we're going to close you down for a week. If you do it again, we're not giving you your account back. And I said, what? Well, what's that about? Well, you follow these people and then you unfollow after about a week. That's not what Twitter's about. I said, isn't it? Doesn't everyone want followers? Well, maybe, but we don't allow that. So this phrase called Twitter jail is real. There are a hell of a lot of people that have been caught and probably haven't told you. There's a hell of a lot of people that have never been caught and keep going. So I'm in the process of researching these couple of sites. What I want you to do is I want you to follow 30 people organically, manually yourself. And if you're not that interested in doing it manually, I really don't recommend you do the automated sites until you've thoroughly researched them because you could get suspended. And wouldn't that be awful? You go to all this trouble to create an account, you work yourself up to, say, 2,000 followers after 30 days, and then suddenly your account gets closed down. It's a bit silly. It's not a very good practice. Hello, Hunter. Getting some people coming in now. Isn't that cool? Yes. So have you heard of these sites, Wendy? What are your thoughts on these types of sites? Have you heard this idea?
Well, I'm not going to say who, but I do use a auto reply. So when I follow somebody and they follow me back, it automatically sends them a thank you DM message. But that is all I use because I really do feel like it's important to reply back to someone that's followed you. And if I didn't automate that, I would never be able to handle all of those replies. But I would never use a auto follow. I don't think it's right. But a auto reply to say thank you for following me, I don't think is bad.
Yeah, auto DMs are not technically prohibited yet. Technically. Twitter is discussing whether or not that happens because if you get a lot of followers, the auto replies only happen when you follow someone. And because I follow 30 people a day, I get 30 auto DMs a day. Actually, that pisses me off. But because I can't see my messages from my actual friends. But I can see why it would be a cost-effective and time-effective system. But so that's the first thing. Twitter 30-30. Follow 30 people a day for 30 days, rinse and repeat. And we're going to follow this along with Wendy to see how she's going. But we've got more chunky stuff. How else do you want to dive into the top 5 tips before we invite some people on, or do you want to invite some people on now?
Let's do that really quick. Then we'll end the recording and we'll invite some folks on and we'll have a discussion.
Perfect. So I've got. Over a period of time, I've developed a bit of a system, especially for newbies. When you've just started on Twitter and you're thinking, what's going on? It feels like I've just jumped on the train. Like when I get up in the morning at 6 a.m. It's already 1 p.m. in LA. It's already 4 p.m. in New York. So my mind has got to quickly adjust to someone who's been awake for 8 hours. And it takes me about an hour to get my head around that. Now, granted, this is a real mind spin. When I wake up at 6 o'clock today it's Tuesday, sorry. Today it's Tuesday. It's Monday.
Yes.
It's always tomorrow. It's always tomorrow in Australia. So when I wake up at 6 o'clock, it's 1 p.m. in LA on a Monday. So they're ahead of me, but they're behind, if you know what I mean. They're into their day. They're awake. And they're thumping it. And they go, mate, where are you? I've been trying to DM you for hours. I said, mate, I'm in bed. I sleep sometimes.
Every now and then.
I've developed a system to try and cope with these incredible sort of movement in Twitter. And the number one idea is, and this is going to be heresy for some people, be a resource, not a salesperson. Now, this actually is something that people cannot get their head around. Some people, most people that I know get it straight away. Okay, that makes sense. Share and sometimes share good stuff, and then sometimes talk about yourself. But I tell you what annoys me the most of all is when all you see in people's streams is, hey, I got a special on, cold cream. Oh, hello, come and get my ice creams. Come and I've got a gig tomorrow. I've just written a book. Here's a video I wrote. Here's a blog I wrote. Here's me on the TV. Okay, that's great. Here's my video. That's great. And that's fine if you're Kim Kardashian or super famous. But if you're like us and you're just starting, you're good at what you do, but you haven't yet, hit the high stakes. People want to do a little bit of a balance there. So the general principle is be a resource, not a salesperson. And there is actually a principle for that. There's actually a formula, and that formula, Gary Vaynerchuk, give, then ask. Jab, 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 right hook. There's actually a formula for this, 80-20. For every time that I personally talk about myself, I tweet 4 other things. And Wendy will attest to this because I'm always tweeting good stuff from other people.
You tweet night and day.
Because I don't know everything. I don't know everything. Even about Twitter, I don't know everything. So I recommend that you tweet 1 time for yourself and then 4 times for others. Now, personally, what I do, I actually recommend this model, but it's not practical for everyone, 10-1. For every time that I tweet about myself, hey, there's a blab coming up and I'm really excited, I'm on the TV, it's sort of like a mini Brady Bunch TV style, come and join our blab. I tweet 10 other things about, well, why would you consider blab? Here's a really cool decoder that a mate of mine did about blab. Here's a blog post that I found that's really cool about blab. Here's a video about how to use blab. And if you don't like blab, yeah.
One thing that I do, I kind of follow your, 80-20 rule too. So if I talk about one of my products, my services, or something I'm reviewing, I don't necessarily always have time to add my own content. So what I'll do instead, I will retweet other people. So at least I have good content from other people that, is something that my customers would want to know about in between my business posts about me and my products and my services.
It's a good follow-up. And here's a really good way to do that. Here's an extremely good way to do this. Say, for instance, and I've got to give this really cool example. The word growth hacking is a hot topic at the moment. And if you wanted to check that, just go and have a look at hashtag growth hacking. So I did this blog post. In fact, last week's podcast, which was called Twitter Magic 123 equals Growth Hacking 101. I posted that as a symbol of what we did. Here's something that we are offering the world, a blab about growth hacking your Twitter account, how to get followers fast, targeted followers.
Right.
But what I did was I attached the hashtag growth hacking to the bottom of my tweet. And then, this is such a great tip, what I did was I clicked on that hashtag and there was about 20 other articles to choose from. Of other people that had written a blog post. You try it. Try it. Try tapping in growth hacking to your Twitter account today and you'll find that there's plenty of videos about it. There's plenty of podcasts about it. I'm writing about it. There's blog posts, Twitter account, podcasts, videos, images, seminars, blabs, periscopes. And what it means is that I know pretty much a lot about Twitter and growth hacking, but I don't want to speak all day, every day about myself. And there's all these great people. Like, I'm not very good at video, for instance, and I'm not very good at writing. So there's plenty of people that have written an article about growth hacking. Perfect complement to my skills. It's not mine.
You know, a lot of people are scared to share other people's content because they're afraid that they're going to be giving their business away to someone else. But, you know, I think that your customers appreciate that you take the time to find good content from other people. And if they know, like, and trust you as a person, it's not going to make a difference that you're adding that content from someone else, because they like you and they're reading your channel. So, you know, they're not going to go anywhere if they want to do business with you. They're going to feel like that's an addition, something extra that you're giving them.
You know, it's the cup is always full, or the cup runneth over idea. You know, that, you know, I love sharing, and I've made an amazing business model, our career, out of connecting with all these really amazing people who I would never have met if I said no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a closed system there. That's an interesting GIF, isn't it? There's a closed system there. I'm the Twitter dude. I'm not sharing anything else about Twitter. What happens if they go to them? Someone else has got a book. Well, I don't have a book. No, even if you wanted to buy my book, you can't, because I don't have one. I don't have a book for sale. I do have a free ebook at keithkeller.com.au. That's completely free, and by all means, go and get that. It's pretty good. I'm pretty proud of that. But you can't buy my book on Amazon because I don't have a book yet. That's a very, very good point. Yeah. But so, you know, for instance, if you want a book on Twitter, I'll recommend you get the Tao of Twitter, the Tao of Twitter by Mark Schaefer. Now, I don't have a book, and it's not in my interest to not promote him. He's a fantastic guy, and he's got a fantastic book. I've got videos out, and I've got podcasts if you want to listen to those, and I'm sure Mark's promoted those for me. Hello, Kim.
Hey, David.
And hello, David. So we're starting the gang's all here. So that's part two. Part two is the 80-20 rule. Now, I must admit that I've done this so many times that I actually forgot to get my list up. Do you have the list there of the number 3s and number 4s of all of the things we're sharing today?
No, I do not.
I'll wing it. So number 1 is be a resource, not a salesperson. Number 2 is the 80-20 rule. The third one, this is actually really important. It might not be in order. You have to have a graphic on your page. Don't be the egg.
Yeah,
this is so powerful. I have not many people do this anymore, but it's important to know why not to do it. I know for sure that photos of people, faces, have much more power than graphics, and 10 times more power than the egg. But if you don't feel comfortable putting your face on your Twitter account, that's okay. You can put your company graphic. It's still an image. And that gives this geniality, this friendliness. That's Keith. That's what he's doing. He's a pretty cool dude. I'll follow him. Because when someone follows you, they want to know that you're a real person. And like some people go, the bio, stuff the bio, Google me. What a stupid idea. I mean, if I've gone to the trouble of following you, do me the favor of telling me what you do and whether it's worth following you. Okay, right. I'm a Twitter dude. I know everything there is to know about Twitter. And if that's of interest to you, then please follow me. And if it isn't, I'm not offended if you don't follow me. If you don't want to know about Twitter, I can't help you.
I want to know if you're a business person or if you are in the service industry, because, if you mow grass, me and you may not have anything in common. I'm not saying that's bad, but we just might not have anything in common. And would you want to see my tweets on your page if that doesn't interest you? So a lot of people complain about getting things in their feed that, they don't like. Well, that's why, because you're not letting people know who you are.
I totally agree. So the graphic is the idea that you've seen my face. This is what I look like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is Lady Killer Keller. I'm in a black T-shirt, jeans, hanging out in Melbourne, Australia. This is what you get, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. It's the real me. I'm the real deal. Now, there's power in that. The idea of having a really strong bio, that's number 4. Power, power, power. Go to the trouble of telling people what you do so that saves them time, because we're all busy. But number 5, and this is probably alluding back to Gary Vaynerchuk, which is where I got it from, share, 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 then ask.
Yes.
Don't come into the conversation with, hey, I've got stuff, buy my book. I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are. Why would I buy your book? You've got a book and that's great, and I will read it if I'm in the mood. But why would I? I've got 10 other choices. And you haven't told me anything about you. What about, hey, Keith, I notice you followed me, and I notice you're in Australia. Well, here's a really cool mate of mine in Sydney who does these cool YouTube videos. You might like that. Okay, you've helped me out. Like yesterday, I'll give you a really cool example. Yesterday, this really lovely person in Italy followed me. She's from Nairobi, and she said, oh, look, I've just moved to Italy and I want to get myself set up as a speaker. And I said, have you heard of TED Talks? She goes, no, I haven't heard of that. I don't think they do them here. I said, oh, yes, they do. A mate of mine in Rome did one recently. And here it is. Now, that has nothing to do with me, nothing.
Yeah.
But she was so excited that I went to the trouble of finding a TED Talk from a guy in Rome and sent it to a woman from Nairobi living in Florence. This is the way the internet works.
Yeah, and
nothing to do with me.
The time, and and that's what I'm trying to relate to people. If you're sharing other people's content, your customers see that you took the time to, number one, be intelligent and bring them useful information, and then number 2, that you are a giving, sharing person. I want to know that about people that I work with. There's certain types of personalities that I don't want to do business with. And if I see that you're a sharing, giving person, you're intelligent, you're providing me great content, then guess what? You're the type of person I want to do business with.
I totally agree. And I think the internet has completely changed this idea that, and especially blabs. Now, for everyone that's on this blab, you're obviously introduced to the idea of blab, but they're so good. You get a video live stream, you get an audio, you get a video. I put them on YouTube, and within the end, by the end of the day, there'll be a SoundCloud version of this, there'll be a YouTube version, and there'll be a video replay on blab. Now, how good is that? That is just me being myself. And thank you so much, Walter, for those wonderful comments. It's nice to know that here I am in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm making a difference. I really love what I do. I share as much as I can, and those comments really make a big difference. I really appreciate that. And
well, thank you so much, Keith. I think that this has just been like amazingly helpful to a lot of people to help them get started. And we want to remind everybody that we're going to be doing this every single Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, and I believe it's 9 a.m. Aussie time.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Aussie time. Okay, so we will be doing this every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern in the States, 11 a.m.
Except next week.
Oh, except
Australia
next week. Yes, except next week we have to have an awesome holiday next week.
Let me just decode there. I firmly believe in work-life balance.
Exactly.
I believe I have the best wife in the world.
Yes.
And there's no way in the world I'm working on public holidays or weekends. I just don't. I mean, my business model is that I work my guts out from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. I put the tools down. 6 p.m. I cook dinner. We have a bit of telly, and we've been watching this David Bowie special. It was the 6-hour David Bowie special, which basically featured all of his songs, and not all of them because it was still going when we finished the tape. And so at 6 o'clock, I cook tea. I'm a pretty good cook, not an excellent cook, but it's nourishing. That's a very polite way of saying, maybe a tad boring, but at least it's good for you. And then we have a cup of tea. We sit down. How was your day? You know, you've been in the city. And so next Tuesday is Australia Day, like your 4th of July.
Right.
It's on January 20th when Captain James Cook from England came and landed in Australia and says, okay, well, we own this one now. It was 1770. This is our place, and we're going to put convicts there, and we're going to set up a little place where all of the bad poms can go. And that's our history, our white history. So next week is a celebration of that European history, and it's a bit of a festive moment.
Right.
So next week, there's no blab, but the following week there is a blab, and that's going to be called Tweet with the End in Mind.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of paying homage to Stephen Covey there.
So
I'll just briefly,
So we're going to go ahead and sign off. So what I'd like to do is I'd like for you to tell everybody really quickly how to get in touch with you, and then I'll do the same, and we'll sign off, and then we'll open the seats up.
Great. So Keith Keller is my Twitter handle and my Blab account at KITHKEER. If you do want that little free ebook, then it's keithkeller.com.au. It's in no way as good as Mark's paid book called The Tao of Twitter, which I thoroughly recommend if you want to buy a book on this subject. But that's about 50 pages. We're actually going to redo that and make it into maybe Twitter Magic 123 or Twitter Tips for Newbies. Sometime this year we're going to redo that book. But it's there for you to download, and there's actually a 10-part podcast series that accompanies that called Crack the Twitter Code, and you get an email every week about that. But most importantly, follow this hashtag, Twitter Tips for Newbies.
Yes.
And everything that happens, the podcasts, the videos, the YouTube channel, will all be handy under one really lovely, lovely place. And I think that's all that is for me. That's all I have to say about that, as Forrest would say.
And guys, my name is Wendy from Cash Life Mastery. And if you want to contact me, it is Cash Life Mastery on Facebook. So guys, next week, don't forget, Aussie holiday. We will not be here that Monday, but the following Monday we will be back with lots of tips and tricks on Twitter, and Keith will definitely entertain us with his Twitter knowledge. So guys, we're signing off right now, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.